This is an absolutely incredible day for us. It is the day that we get to officially announce we have live bettas for sale on keepfishkeeping.com. If you would have asked me just a couple of months ago if this is something we ever anticipated doing, I would have said absolutely not. But the beautiful and amazing woman that's holding the camera right now came down one day and said, you know what? I want to sell bettas. And so now here we are. I've spent the last couple of months completely obsessing over how exactly we're going to do this, how we're going to keep the fish, where we're going to get the fish from, how we're going to ship them to you, the customer, how we're going to charge for shipping, and how much we're going to charge for the fish. All that, it's been an absolutely grueling couple of months, but I am so excited to say that these fish are now live on the website. And I'll just say it again, this is a really big day for us. Hey folks, it's John with KeepFishKeeping.com. The first question when it comes to starting this whole endeavor here is where were we going to get the fish from? And we knew some people in the betta world already. We knew some people in the industry, so we reached out to them almost immediately. They sent us some fish to just see what they've got and all of that. We were absolutely thrilled and we're really happy to be working with them. The thing is, we want more. We're always going to be on the lookout for new distributors, new farms, new places to get these fish from, because we don't want to have all our eggs in one or two baskets, because if these things sell the way we want them to, they might have a hard time keeping up. And to be completely honest with you, full transparency, when Lisa and I were sitting at the computer this morning and we officially pushed the button for these fish to go live on the site, within 5 minutes, we sold like 13 of these fish. So if that's any indication as to how this is going to go, we're going to need to have fish coming in from several different angles. So we're working with 3 right now. We're going to probably expand that to a couple more so that there's always going to be some fresh fish that we can go out there and get and always have a really good selection for you. All right, so let me tell you a little bit about our setup here. This is a very temporary setup. I don't think we're going to be here for very long before we end up getting a commercial building somewhere, because this ain't working. It's working, but it's very close quarters. It's very hot, so I apologize if I'm sweating like crazy. And it's also, it's small. We can't expand too much farther, so we're going to probably be moving, I would think, next year into a commercial space or something, who knows. But for the time being, what we have here is enough room for 400 bettas in this little room. I know that sounds crazy, but it's absolutely true. We've got these 2 large 8-foot wide racks here. Each of these will hold 80 fish on the shelves, and then we can actually put a row across the top, which would make each one of these racks hold 100 fish. So that's nice. And if we wanted to turn these and have them kind of like aisles in the middle of the room, we could actually put fish front and back. So these 2 racks would actually hold 400 fish, which is absolutely nuts. We're not going to do that while we're here, but we have added this rack over here. This we just added last week, and we added all of these new little tanks. These are actually the Beanie Baby display cases that the International Betta Congress uses in their contests. So very, very cool. We have a few fish in them, which I'll show you in a minute, but they work really well. They're not super cheap, but they're also not overly expensive either. But the real showpieces are these. Now, this is something that we did not expect going in to have these available, but one of the farms that we're working with had a bunch of them extra, 200 to be exact. And so we bought all of these from him, and they're absolutely awesome. They show really well. They're made of acrylic, and they're going to last forever. So we're really excited about that. Each one of these, we have a third of a gallon or so in each one of these. You can see they're filled up about halfway. And if you're concerned about the little amount of water that is in these, listen, take a walk with me over here. I'll show you one of these. Well, that just fell on the floor. This is what you're used to seeing in the stores. These tiny little cups. When you put those up against one of these tanks, you can see it is an absolute no-brainer. This is 15 times the amount of water that are in those little cups. So we're doing a lot better than a lot of places are. So that's what we're going to do with these. The same amount of water goes into the Beanie Baby containers, but it's just taller. These are a little deeper. Those are taller. So yeah, that is what it is. But this rack right here will also hold 200 tanks, which is nuts. But because these are skinny and tall, it'll hold a lot more. We're not using a whole lot of them yet, but we plan to. As we need to, we'll expand into these. Now, these fish that you see on this rack up here, these are fish that Lisa Marie selected as not being perfect. They're not perfect. So we put them up here until they become perfect. They're not dying, they're not sick, they're just, they need a little bit of work. So we're going to keep those a little bit longer until they get to where she can classify them as perfect, and then they'll go for sale to you. So that's what those are. But this is probably, this rack here will probably become where we put the fish that are sold, so we don't get them confused with all of the other fish, and it's just going to be absolute mayhem. So the fish that we already sold this morning, I haven't put them up anywhere yet because it just happened. And then we turned on the camera and we started recording. So I don't know. This is going to be crazy, and it's going to be even crazier doing it in here. But hey, we got to do what we got to do. As far as what we're doing to take care of these fish, it's actually a pretty simple process. It's just a very lengthy process because there's so many. But these fish get 100% water change every single week. 50% twice a week to get all of the waste out of there, and then also just give them fresh water. They're in a smaller container. We want to make sure that everything is clean. The tanks, not all of them yet because there's so many, but a lot of them have what you see here, the small Anubias Nana Petite that we bought from Aquarium Co-op. Those are all in there to also help to keep the water clean and everything for them. Plus it gives them something to swim through and play around with. We're going to eventually have those in every single tank, but I think we've got 100 so far, and we probably need to order another 100 more here soon as Aquarium Co-op has the inventory, which they probably already do. But anyway, I'm rambling. That's what we're doing. Every week these are getting 100% water change. If for some reason they need more, we do more. Lisa's down here every single day, constantly doing water changes. It is crazy, and when we move, I can promise you there is going to be a much more high-tech system installed, even if it takes me months to design and do it. So as far as water that we're using in here, we're actually buying bottled water. That's what we're doing, because the water from our county here is, let's just say, less than perfect, and water's cheap, so it's easy to go to the store and buy it. So we're buying water in bottles. Marie, if you want to show the bottles down on the bottom, we've got a whole lot of them sitting down there. It's fine. I mean, it's not ideal, but it's fine. It'll work. It'll work for now. But again, once we move out, we'll get a much more sophisticated water supply system and also maintenance system. But that's what we're doing in here. Every single fish is kept as if it is our pets. And I know that sounds like a sales pitch, but it's absolutely not. These fish are obsessed over by the lovely woman that's holding the camera right now. And me too, but her, it's become something that keeps her up at night. She's cleaning these tanks constantly. So it's not only that we want to sell a good product and have that product be healthy when they reach you, but we also want you to be happy with them, and we want the fish to last for years and years and years. A lot of that has to do with us and the way we take care of them, and also the way we ship them, and that's what we're going to talk about next. Okay, shipping these fish starts off with fasting them. We're going to be fasting these fish for 48 hours before we ship them to you. And this might sound cruel, but believe me, it's better than what would happen if we didn't do it. Basically, the reason why we do that is because we don't want the fish evacuating in the bags when they're in shipping. So they're going to be good and hungry when they get to you. They should eat right away, but we do that because we want to help to keep the water as clean as possible throughout the entire journey to your house. I'm not going to do a whole tutorial on how we ship fish. I just want you to see what we're going to be doing and what you can expect if you order one. If you want to see a detailed video about how we ship fish, I'd be happy to do one of those. So just let me know down in the comments. But it all starts with the shipping box. We used to use these when we were shipping African cichlids. They worked out really well for us. We don't make these, we buy them, and they are all pre-cut foam that it insulates the box. This box right here, we'd be perfectly fine shipping up to 4 fish in this box, and even 1, but we do have one that's a little bit smaller than this, just a little bit, that will put 1 fish in, but this can be up to 4. The reason why we don't want to go too small with the box is because of these, particularly now. It's election day right now. It's starting to be wintertime. We're going to be using 72-hour heat packs. These get good and warm, and they'll keep the inside of this box warm for 72 hours or even more. I've tested them to last even longer than that. But if it's a box that's too small, it can actually overwhelm the fish. So even 1 fish, sometimes depending on where they're going, you're going to find them in a box this size. It's just going to be what's best for the fish. But 72-hour heat packs. As we get into the spring, we'll probably get into more of the 48s and then maybe even the 30 hours. But for now, for the rest of this year and the beginning of next year, we're going to be using the 72 hours. I've got a couple of cases of them sitting in the garage right now. These are the bags that you're going to expect. These are 3 mil bags, double bagged. You can expect about that much water, 50-50 air to water ratio. Plenty of water. It might not look like a lot, but it's plenty. And if you would see how the farms ship these fish, you'd be shocked, and some of you would actually probably be offended. You'll be looking at us as heroes for using this much. A lot of betta retailers would tell you that this is absolutely overkill. You don't need to have them in this much water, but more water means more stability in that water, and it'll keep temperature a lot better. So that's what you can expect, double bagged. Of course, the bags are going to be wrapped in what Lisa calls the fish's little cozy blankets. I got this idea from Flip Aquatics. These are another expense for us, but that's okay. The fish are going to be in this extra little insulated blanket, and then of course wrapped up in paper. We don't need to show you paper, but that's how it's going to be. Heat pack in there, insulated box, cozy blanket, wrapped up in paper, and then if we have to, we may even put these on it. I bought 2 rolls of these. Sometimes we might need to make our own box because somebody like Lefty3213A orders 8 fish all in one time. We might need to make a larger box. We'll put these on there just so that people know bright green. They're going to see it from a mile away. So we've been doing it this way for years. We shipped fish for a long time back in the day when we had our shop, and it was always, it was always fine. Accidents do happen, but it's rare. They're going to get to you and they're going to be fine, and that's all there is to it. The last thing that I want to talk about is something that we're doing on our website that there's other websites that do this too, but it was very important to us. We don't want to rip customers off when it comes to shipping. So you're going to have options when you go to checkout, when you go to buy these fish. You're going to have options of what shipping you're going to use. You can use UPS overnight, you can use UPS second day, and then the Postal Service Priority Mail and Priority Express. What I would encourage you to do when you go on there, when you look at your different options, it'll tell you right there it's expected to get to you in 1 or 2 days. If it says that, you should be fine. But if you look at Priority Mail and it says 3 to 4 days, don't expect there to be a good ending to that story. Don't use that. A lot of places, particularly on the East Coast, you can go with Priority Mail and it'll tell you 1 day. So you're basically getting overnight shipping for a very, very reasonable price. We do it this way because we want you to have options. Sometimes people tell us all the time, UPS is a nightmare where I live, but the Postal Service is fine. If that's the case for you, you can select the Postal Service, or if it's the other way around, which usually it is, the Postal Service is a nightmare and UPS is great, you can select UPS. Those are the only 2 options that we have right now. They're the only ones that are offering us reasonable rates to give to you. We don't make any money on shipping. In fact, we lose money on shipping when it comes to all of the stuff that we buy to put in the bags and not in the bags, but in the boxes and all of that kind of stuff. But that's okay, because in the end, we want you to receive your new pet. We want you to be thrilled with it, and we want it to be a very smooth process. So you have those options. I would just tell you, be very careful, and sometimes paying an extra $10 for shipping, it can make or break a situation like this. And understand, we're not overcharging for these things. If it's an extra $10 for the shipping, that's because that's what we are charged. We're not making more money off of you. We're not trying to sell you. We just want this process to go smooth.
What do you feed your fish, John?
Oh, I thought we were going to cut there, but now that you ask, I don't, but Lisa Marie does. We've got a few different things that we're feeding them. Hikari BioGold, pretty much staple. Betta BioGold, staple in the hobby. You have to use these, and it's very easy to just put 1 or 2 in each one of those. Very simple. The Community Crave Flakes from Extreme, again, another absolute staple in our fish rooms. Extreme Krill Flakes, which is the same as this, minus the spirulina. And then we have the Betta Pellets from Extreme. Big fans of these. We cannot keep this in our inventory enough. And just in case you ask, yes, you can order food with your Bettas. We're going to probably have problems if people order fish and Seachem Tidal filters, but we'll figure that out when the time comes.
And also frozen bloodworms, don't forget about that.
This is true, yes. What do you do that, like twice a week?
Yes, I do that twice a week.
She thaws out a little bowl of frozen bloodworms and she goes through with the tweezers and feeds them that. They get a variety of food from us, and we would definitely suggest that you do the same thing. And of course, I'm not doing a sales pitch as if that's not what this whole video is about. All of these are available through keepfishkeeping.com, not the frozen foods, because we haven't figured out an easy way to do that yet. I'm certainly not going to ship frozen foods with a fish that needs to be heated. But anyway, we are also going through, Marie showed you, Lisa Marie, people get confused when I call her Marie. Lisa Marie showed you earlier all of the bottles that we have down there. The bottled water, we treat them all with the dark water. Again, not an advertisement, but it's what we're using, so we might as well tell you. We've used a lot of this from our inventory. Lisa goes through and treats every single bottle before we fill up the tanks. It's also given a little bit of salt, and Fritz Guard is what we're using. Even though the water's dechlorinated and all that kind of stuff, we still put it in there because the Guard has that element to it for the slime coat and all of that. So yeah, these fish are spoiled, and I can promise you this, that's never, ever gonna change. We've always been that way when it comes to fish that we're selling, and our own personal fish too, but we spoil them because in the end, you end up happier, and that's the main thing. You're buying a new pet from us, and we take that very seriously. So we're gonna spoil them and make sure everything's good to go, and make sure that you have a good experience. So yeah, if you can't tell already, I am drenched in sweat. It's 80 degrees in this room, and it's an absolute nightmare. It is so hot in here. Just another thing for me to use in my argument for moving this out into a commercial space. But I am a sweaty mess. Thank you so much for watching this. This has been fun, just kind of an off-the-cuff video showing you what we're doing. We are so excited about selling these fish, and we can't wait to start shipping them out to you. It's going to be an amazing thing. If you're watching this after the week of the election, understand these. Look at our website. You'll see how we do things as far as shipping goes. But if you are ordering the day this video uploads, or even the same week that this video uploads, we're not going to ship the fish till next week because election. It's nuts. So the mail service is bananas right now. So understand that they're not going to ship out till next week. But if you're watching this video after that, we're going to ship them out according to what the website says. So that's it. I'm about to pass out. Thank you so much for watching. KeepFishKeeping.com. Click on the button that says Live Bettas for Sale. Have fun, and we will send these right out to you.